Bum-ba-da-dum! Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I am your host, Banjo Ben, here on the website that offers you mandolin, guitar, and banjo lessons. We're doing Red Wing in the key of G for mandolin today. And as you saw in the performance, we're going to start out with the basic melody. Okay, this is really an advanced lesson, but we're going to start with the basic melody because I've had lots of Gold Pick members email in and say, look, I'm learning, advanced solos for fiddle tunes, but I've kind of lost track of what the melody is. So here we're going to establish that first, and I have tabs for both. And then when we spend the majority of our time on the advanced lesson, we're going to be looking back at that basic melody and seeing how I came up with these licks that embellishes that basic melody. So it's really a valuable lesson. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, here in a moment I'll ask you to go over to the website, BanjoBenClark.com. You can join as a Gold Pick member, as many of you have. That gives you access to hundreds of video lessons just like this. And I put a new one out each week. As well as the tabs. I have a PDF and TEF file tab for this, both the basic and the advanced versions. And then I also have 3 different speeds of downloadable MP3 rhythm tracks. So you can download those, practice along, get proficient on Red Wing on mandolin. Let's take a look at this basic melody first. Let's learn Red Wing on the mandolin. This is a great old fiddle tune. Normally played out of the key of G. It's got an A part and a B part, and the A part and B parts have different chord progressions. Let's go ahead and throw up the first line of the tab for the basic melody. This is what we're going to do. We're going to briefly go through the basic melody so that you can hear that, and then we'll spend the majority of our time going through the advanced solo that I've built, and that way you can always refer back to the basic melody. If you're watching this on the site, you can just go and download the tabs, and I've got the basic and the advanced there together. So that you can print that out and reference the basic whenever you need to. Now, as you'll notice beneath each one of the notes, as always, I have our pick stroke direction. So a down arrow, like in measure 1 there, would be a down stroke. Up arrow would be an up stroke. Now, most of the rhythm in the basic melody is played with a shuffle pattern. That's a fiddle term. It just sounds like this. So it's a quarter note followed by 2 eighth notes, and then again, quarter note, 2 eighth notes. And we'll use that a lot, especially in Red Wing, because there's a lot of drawn out notes because it's a fiddle tune. And since we don't have a bow to pull over those long notes, we're going to fill up that space by doing shuffle patterns. All right, so we're going to walk into this A part with just 3 quarter notes, open, 2, 4. And we'll get to measure 2. We're going to start that little shuffle pattern. Okay, so that's pretty simple, and we're not going to spend tons of time here because I want to spend the majority of our time on the solo. But measure 3, we go up to the 5th fret. Now measure 4, I'm going to switch it up a little bit and put 2 eighth notes at the beginning of the measure. And I just do that to break the monotony. Measure 5. So let me just play measures 1 through 5 for you slowly. Don't forget that I have another video segment here on the site where I play the whole thing, both solos, through much slower than this. Good. Now when we get to measure 6, it's over a D chord, and I know that a lot of people will play a C chord here. The way that I've always learned it, we play a D or a D7 there. And we go to the 3rd fret, which is a C note. And then measure 7, we have 4 eighth notes in a row. Then in measure 8, we have an A chord, and that's not typically in the key of G. Okay, so this is known as a 2 chord. It makes it a lot of fun to come up with licks that go over it in the advanced part. But here we're just going to represent it with the basic quarter notes of the melody. And in measure 9, we have a full measure of eighth notes, where we're just going to play this little lick. And in measure 10, it's going to start back over with what we started playing in measure 2. It's got a repeat in there. Let me just play 6 through 10 for you slowly. Okay, if that's too fast for you, as I said, I've got another video on the site where I play it much, much slower. When we get to measure 11, now we're starting to repeat some things that we've already learned. So measure 11 is exactly like measure 3. 12 is just like 4. So we've seen this already. Measure 15 is just like measure 7. But then when we get to measure 16, we're going to start wrapping up this A part, getting ready to go into the B part. So that first note of measure 17 there on that 5th fret, that's the end of the A part. And then we've got these 3 notes that are walking us into the B part that technically starts in measure 18. But Red Wing is really known for this little walking chromatically down from the G, F sharp, F, and then our B part will really begin on that E note. Now, when you're playing fiddle, it's easy to play a big, long E note. But here we're going to do that little shuffle pattern just on an open E string. Then measure 19. Okay, so let me just start with the walk downs at the end of measure 17 and play through 20. Good. When we get to measure 21, it's really easy. It's just 4 quarter notes. Measure 22, go back into a shuffle pattern, first on the 5th fret, and then open string. Measure 23 is all quarter notes. 24, we've seen this measure already. Now we're halfway through the B part, and we're going to do that walk down again at the end of measure 25. Let me play 21 through 25. And I just play that 2nd and 1st fret with the same finger. I just slide it down. When we get to measure 26, we're going to start seeing some more repeating now. So 26 and 27 is just like 18 and 19. We've seen all this before. 29 is just like 21. And then when we get to 31, now we're wrapping up the end of the basic melody. And then I gave you a little lick here in 32. Technically, that first note in 32 is the very last note of the song. But then there's a little lick to help you kind of finish it out. And we're going to start on the 4th fret, 4, 2, open, and then we're just walking down the G scale. 5, 4, 2, open. So 31 through 33. Okay, now we're going to play that really slow. And then we'll dive into this advanced version that's a lot of fun to play.